Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to this video today. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, which is steak. And I've been getting a lot of questions, a lot of frustrations from people who used to shop at the store that are now Heartland customers, talking about what was wrong, why they were getting so much inconsistency with beef that they would buy from the store, and why when you shop through Heartland, why our beef is so much more consistent and reliable, in specific when we're talking about steaks. So just to give you a little bit of background, when the USDA inspectors cut open a primal, the way that they grade it is they look at just the rib portion of the animal. So they kind of look at the evenly distributed levels of marbling, and from that they grade it from prime, choice, select, all the way down to canner, and they can basically tell by looking at it how that steak's going to taste. So the beautiful thing about steak is that it doesn't really matter how much breeding specifications you go through, animal raising practices. You can do everything right, and there's still going to be some fluctuation between what you get from each animal to the next, because no two animals are the same. So I have two examples for you here. These are both ribeyes, and if you look at this one, this would be considered, what the USDA considers, the top 3% of beef available in the country. It's basically the best you can buy from Creekstone Farms. So you look here, you see a really nice level of evenly distributed marbling, right? And then on this side you have a big pocket of fat, and that's just how this primal came out. It's 100% Black Angus genetics. That's going to be consistent from every single steer that Creekstone brings to market, which is not consistent with what you get in the stores. They're breed blended animals. They come from other countries. There's just a lot of inconsistency. These steers are born and bred right here in the US, and with 100% genetics, you can get very similar consistent cuts. But however, there's always going to be some variation. So this ribeye is also considered to be beautiful. Nice, evenly distributed levels of marbling. You have a nice cap here in the ribeye, but not so much of that pocket circle of fat that you see in this other cut here. Now both of these are considered to be amazing cuts. They're both going to taste amazing, but there will be a little bit difference from one steak to the next, no matter how much you do right in the raising process. So I just want to give you a little insight to that, and that's the best part about every time you cook one of your beautiful Creekstone steaks. They're going to be a little bit different. However, they're always going to taste good. You're always going to have tenderness from the humane animal handling practices. You're not going to have any of that rigidity in the meats, stress hormone release from poor handling and inhumane practices. So there's a lot that goes into it, but those are probably the biggest things. So genetics, pasture raising, and treating the animal the way it should be treated is not only going to be the right thing by the animal, but it's also going to create very lush, tender cuts. Another thing is aging. That will help. It's an enzymatic process that breaks down some of the muscle fibers. It also gives you a deeper, richer flavor. And all of the Creekstone beef that you get from us is a 28-day wet age. So it really is a beautiful product. You can't get it in stores. And that's a little bit of insight as to steak and why you should get it from Heartland Home Foods. So a little more insight into beef in terms of the cuts. So a lot of people ask me, what cut is a prime rib? So the reality is that a prime rib is actually the exact same cut as a ribeye. It's just how it's cooked and how it's cut. So whenever you take a rib roast and you cook it whole without cutting it first, that would be prime rib. If you take the rib portion and you cut it into individual steaks and cook them individually, now you have a ribeye. So technically it's really the same cut, but how it's cut and cooked is really going to be the only difference between a rib roast or prime rib and a ribeye steak. Same thing when you hear Delmonico. That's another term for ribeye. It's really the same cut, different name. All right, so that's going to wrap up this segment of Steakucation today. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. And if you know anybody who could use some Steakucation, or maybe they'd enjoy some Creekstone steak, tag them in the comments, and we'd be happy to share it with them. Have a great day.